want to get into the most controversial. I posted it because it happened 2007 was when it took place, but it was this month. We're recording in May. It was like May 15th or something.
Right.
I think it actually was. The fact that I just threw that out, I'm pretty sure it was actually May 15th. I posted about it that morning. I said the biggest NBA controversy of all time. Now I'm biased, but
no, I don't think it's biased at all.
But there's a lot in this series that happened, like so many different layers that happened, that I think it's not just like a one narrative story. So we're going to talk a little bit about really what everybody remembers the Spurs Sun series for right now.
Right.
But there's probably another episode we'll do on some of the back half of it, okay? So we'll put a video up, and I'm going to pull it up here if you aren't familiar with this series. But it's game 4, okay? I'm sure at the time, I think this was the first year that Amar'e was on the Suns? First or second?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It was close to the beginning.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
I'm making that up, but it was close to the beginning. The Suns that season, were so dominant. And coming against the Spurs, who at the time, that's another thing. I hate the Spurs, with everything in me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you look back at that Spurs team, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, that team was unreal.
Even throw up Bruce Bowen.
Yeah, Bruce Bowen, which that dude.
Dirty.
But great defender.
Absolutely.
3-and-D, again, probably before 3-and-D was a thing, because
Mm-hmm.
people didn't want to shoot three balls. But anyways, toward the end of game 4, okay, I think the series maybe is tied at the time. Don't fully remember because I try to block out this series from my mind. Steve Nash rebounds the ball, goes to the scorer's table. Robert Horry went on to play for the Lakers too, which probably makes this even worse. Literally, not like a prison foul into the scorer's table. And then pandemonium just ensues. I remember just seeing that and trying to process what just happened.
What just happened?
I mean, and the thing too is I'm sure here everybody's talking about it obviously.
Right.
But I'm in Orange County, nobody even seems to care.
No kidding.
It
wasn't even conversation.
I think people were like, "Oh, you see the foul?" It was kind of sketch, but dude, he which I think it was the game before. Steve Nash broke his nose. I don't even remember who broke it because it happened so many times. He's bleeding on his face, still hitting threes because Steve is the G. But already broke his nose the game before. He has a literal bandage on his face, and then Robert Horry does that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of reasons why this was so bad, but the biggest of reasons is that what ends up happening is that David Stern looks at the situation. Okay, I think Robert Horry got ejected. In fact, I know he got ejected.
He
I don't remember if any of the Suns players got ejected. I don't think so, but I remember for sure he got ejected, and then he was suspended the next game.
Mm-hmm.
What you end up looking back, and I'm sure we have footage of this going right now above us, but you look at the actual fight that happens, because obviously if you're playing basketball and get punched in the face, I'm going to go over to try to protect you.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a good teammate.
Right.
So you look at the actual pandemonium that ensues, and first off, Robert Horry just walks away because he's the worst person. Robert, if you're watching this, sorry. Anyways, and Raja Bell obviously gets into it. The other guys that were on the court get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Interestingly enough, though, who don't you see there? The answer is Amar'e Stoudemire and Boris Diaw. Don't see them anywhere near the fight that's going on, anywhere near the action. Okay?
You can't find one clip, of Boris walking onto the court.
Right. Which I'm glad you said that, because I will bring up for those that are watching on YouTube. And if you're listening to this, you can look it up later. You can find it on YouTube and stuff. But for those of you that are watching this, you'll see in just a moment. But you don't see Amar'e or Boris around. What ends up happening, though, is David Stern, because David Stern just wants power over the situation. I don't fully understand. He ends up suspending Amar'e Stoudemire and Boris Diaw for game 5.
Which is a huge game.
It's the turning point game.
Right.
Now, remember, we are a basketball team that runs the court. We don't post up. We don't do anything. We're playing against Tim Duncan, Okay. So the only like real people that we can match up against Tim Duncan are Stoudemire and Diaw. And they're already like smaller than him. So to lose both of our like power forward center big men guys, and the only guy we have is Kirk Thomas, who like Kirk's a good dude.
No, he balled out on the Suns, but he's not the guy.
He did. He was pretty old, I think, at the time.
Had to have
Grandpa
been.
Kirk.
Yeah, grandpa for sure.
But I mean, like, for him to be your only guy against Tim Duncan, one of the greatest centers of all time.
And I would disagree, but you could argue the greatest.
True.
One could, right?
Yeah, I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way that, anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But to be the only guy to go against Tim Duncan, there's no way that we're going to win that game. Okay?
Right.
Now, this is what I was talking about that I want to pull up. Okay? If you fast forward in this video, we'll pull it up on the screen. Okay. That's Amari Stoudemire right there. You see that? That's Amari. The fight's over here. This is as close as he gets to the actual action. Literally, he's not even on the court.
Mm-hmm.
One of his feet is on the court. Okay? One could argue. I say one. I'm not arguing this. But one could argue. The real fault of this whole thing is the fact that we're trying to make money off of a sport where guys just put a little ball into a hoop. And if we took out one row of seats, backed the bench up so that I have more than like half of a foot to stand up, he's not even running on the court anymore. But those guys literally, like, it's like you stand up and you have to like shimmy sideways to like even get on the court.
Yeah, you're 7. All these guys are 6 feet.
Yeah.
6'5" and above.
Bro, you can't get in the back of my Ford Escape when you're a basketball player, yet somehow they have less room than a Ford Escape on the basketball court.
Right.
Okay? Gets ejected for that. Boris Dio gets ejected. We go on to lose.
Yeah, I mean, just leave it to what Amari. I mean, he says it. I was going to Nash to check on my brother, who was just hip checked.
Yeah.
To see if he was all right.
Yeah.
Words of Amari. And the video evidence shows no different.
Right.